everybody, and welcome back to Seduce Me. Now, we left off where we got into the mansion, and we're here, finally, after we had problems with our father and whatnot. And then we met these 5 guys who were just randomly laying on the floor in our brand new mansion, or at least our, inherited mansion, and they're all wounded. So let's dive right in there and figure out what the hell's going on. Who are you guys? No response. I'll call the police. Still nothing. None of them seem to be awake to answer or respond to me. It seems surreal to have random strangers in the house I just moved into, but I wanted answers quickly. That was until... Eep, get away from me.
Woman, you're going to let me kiss you.
Niglib. I couldn't believe it myself, but within a mere blink of an eye, one of the men went from lying on the floor to being right in front of my face. What was even more odd was the fact that I felt serene and calm about it. That's a weird picture. Slowly, a desire burned from my chest, telling me to accept the kiss even when my mind vehemently refused. Go ahead.
Good.
What? As he kissed me, I could feel my body go weak. I didn't know why, but that kiss was draining me of my energy, and yet it was so good it made my heart sing. Made my heart sing. It was a strange and tingling feeling that danced over every nerve on my body. I could feel streams of intangible energy run up my body into my lips. It felt cold, but at the same time it felt amazing.
Sam, stop it.
The person kissing me, Sam was his name, glanced behind me.
I said stop.
Fine.
Ew. You're attractive. Not so much as Sam. Oh my god. Finally he pulled back and I was left standing there in a daze. What the fuck's going on? I couldn't tell what was going on. My mind was completely enwrapped by the kiss and my thoughts that melted into the depths of the forgotten memories.
Please forgive my brother. He's a bit
Oh,
reckless.
you guys are related. Well, then fuck both of you guys.
At least I feel a hell of a lot better than you right now.
Because you used your abilities on her.
Sam, you're such a reckless brute. Taking advantage of a beautiful young woman like her.
Please shoot me now.
Shut that pretty boy mouth of yours before I rip it off your pretty boy face.
Okay, so we have the so far the pretty guy that's very smooth at everything he does, the intelligent guy that's probably going to be standoffish, and the very angry guy who's very, very tough.
Jeez, you guys, can we not fight right now? Not all of us are in the best state.
Oh, and like the younger one, or he acts younger, but he could probably be the second oldest.
I guess you are right, Matthew.
I agree.
And you're just probably the annoying one. However, as the men got up and started to chat freely, my thoughts began to resemble it, and I remember my confusion and anger once again, only now multiplied tenfold. What?
Huh? Did you say something
Listen, I
beautiful?
will stab you. And I exploded. Well, what is going on? Why the hell are you all in here in my house? Why are you all wounded? Why did you kiss me? And who are you guys? I couldn't help exploding, but after being taken advantage of and being left in a mush state, my words escaped without filter. I definitely scared the men around me, even the man who kissed me. Wait a second, the guy who kissed me?
Ouch! What's your problem?
What's your problem? You can't just go around forcing people to kiss you like that. Are you some kind of pervert?
Pervert! It was only a kiss!
It might mean nothing to you, but it means a lot to me.
What? Was it your first kiss? Ow! Hey! What was that for?
I know first kisses aren't exactly amazing and full of sparkles and something out of a fairy tale, but I had at least expected it to be more than just something forced.
So it was your first kiss. Stop making such a big
I will
deal
punch you
out of it.
again. Are you asking to get punched again?
Well, what do you want me to do? It's not like I can somehow take it back.
Listen, bitch.
How? You're just being
Your
violent
fault.
now!
You deserved it. Anyway, if you try to pull any funny business in the future, just as a fair warning, I know Taekwondo. I think I've bickered enough. Time to go back to my main issue. So what exactly are you all doing in my house?
Miss, please forgive us in our intrusion. We didn't know this abode belonged to anyone, nor did we have the time to take that into consideration.
What do you mean? You don't just barge into people's homes.
We wouldn't have had to if we weren't as wounded as we are currently. We just escaped from a deadly fight that could have ended our lives.
I think I'd rather have allowed you guys to have died.
Luckily for us, your home was near and the windows were unlocked, so we quickly came inside.
The last time I remember, there were laws preventing strangers from stepping on private property, although considering the severity of their wounds, it had to be serious. I guess that explains the wounds, but not why he kissed me. He had absolutely no right to do that.
Well, lovely flustered lady. It's hard to explain, truly.
Normal. Not normal. What are you guys, demons or something? I asked almost jokingly, but the boys seemed to take my question differently.
Well, yeah, actually. Something like that.
Time out. No. See, I would have been like, you know what? Y'all do y'all's thing. I'm going. Y'all do whatever. I'm leaving. Huh?
We're incubi, miss. Demons who consume and use sexual energy of humans to survive.
Incubi, the fabled demons that existed to haunt humans and make them sex-crazed monsters. The mythical beings that could look like anyone just to get into your pants. The imaginary monsters you only saw in movies or on TV. Why couldn't you have been fucking vampires? or I don't know, criminals or gang mobs or I don't know, anything else but incubi.
Hello? Did you hear him?
No, I speak Spanish.
We're telling
I don't
the
care.
truth.
Do you think she's still processing it?
Yes, and she'll understand right about...
Right. It was funny while it lasted, but it's time to cut the joke short. Incubuses don't exist. There was no way they existed. They would be practically impossible.
Ahem. Incubi is the correct plural form. And yes,
Don't
we
get
do exist.
don't get offended, Orange Carrot. Prove it. No! Why did you say prove it? Don't prove it. Don't prove it. I call quits. I call quits. I'm out. I'm done. As soon as the words left my mouth, I instantly regretted them.
Very well.
No!
Eric,
No!
go ahead.
No!
Very well. My
Oh, God.
sweet, you're so tempting with such non-belief. Let me ease your mind with a tender kiss. I promise you'll enjoy every minute of it. And maybe you'll even want more.
I'd rather have Dad back. Dad. Once again, I was lost in a pool of calm and serenity. Staring into Eric's eyes, I felt waves of heat course through my chest and onto my face, panting my cheeks red in their wake. I couldn't help but nod and agree to his offer. Yeah, okay. Oh God, no. God. The sounds. With another kiss, my heart began to flutter once again in my chest, and my mind was spinning in a heated passion-filled pleasure. Yet, I could feel my body drain of energy as he kissed me.
Alright, that's enough.
Aw, very well. I feel
I
so
hate
much
you.
better.
As he pulled away, I was left in a mental mush pool. I felt weak in the knees despite my will demanding me to stand straight in front of the boys before me. The world around me began to spin as I tried to speak. I think I'm gonna throw up.
Where are our manners? I'm James, and these are my brothers.
Sam, Eric,
Sam, Eric,
Matthew, and
Matthew.
Damien.
and Damien.
Oh boy.
Miss, are you okay?
Shit. She fainted.
I couldn't believe it. Incubi, real. It all spun around in my head until I saw only black. Wait, why did you have to pass out there? Oh my god. Floating in the darkness, my mind kept replaying the scene over and over again, reminding my body of the touch of the incubi's lips against mine. However, I began to feel the smooth silk around me and my eyelids unwillingly opened. Where? I awoke to find myself in an unfamiliar place. Where was my mom? Dad. I was pretty sure this wasn't my room. Oh wait, I lived at my grandfather's house now. Of course it would be unfamiliar. I rubbed my eyes and surveyed my surroundings. I was still in the clothes that I arrived at the house in, but I was lying in a silk-covered bed. I remember coming in the afternoon, so why was it night all time already? Suppressing a yawn, I stretched my arms. Maybe I should order some food for delivery. I was feeling pretty hungry. I was about to sit up, but I suddenly realized that I wasn't alone. Oh my god, why the fuck are you still here? Since when was he standing there, and who the heck is he? A guy in my bedroom, did we? There's no way. Sorry, I think I was saying my thoughts out loud. Why was I apologizing to a stranger who only said 2 words since I woke up? Wait, he looked very eerily familiar. Then it all came back to me. Incubus. He was an incubus. He and his brothers came here for refuge, and 2 of them kissed me, and then I fainted, and that was how things came to this. He was leaning against the far wall looking at me. My heart began to race as I thought of the endless list of possibilities the situation brought me. I hated the thought of being under an incubus's power, especially in a bedroom. Be calm. Just be calm. I took a deep breath. I was sure that if any of them wanted to take advantage of me, they would have already done it. Yeah, I'm awake now.
That's good.
I saw a small form of a smile on his face, which made me blush a bit. Why, though? One thing still concerned me, though.
I'm not going to use my powers
Why are
on
you freaking me out? Haha, how?
I can read minds. It's an ability I was born with. Each of us has a different ability, outside of our usual mind-altering powers.
Great, even more surprises. Oh god, please tell me they're not gonna, join the high school I go to. That would just be stereotypical. I grew even more worried about the situation I was in. I see. How long have I been asleep?
For a few hours. It's already gotten quite dark outside.
Ah, well, where are the others?
My brothers are downstairs, cleaning up the blood from the lobby floor. And making you dinner
I don't
as
want
an
it.
apology.
Oh, okay, that's unexpectedly sweet.
Oh, it's the least we can do after invading your home, and 2 of us using our powers on you.
You got a point. Right, I had forgotten about that. It still irritates me that they had practically taken advantage of me at that point. Even if they were demons, it was pretty rude to demonstrate their powers by kissing me. I wasn't some kind of human plaything. Well, first of all, the second one was your fucking fault. All of this seemed pretty unreal. It was like something out of these romance novels that Naomi would sometimes read. I wish I could have just went back to the sleep and forgotten all about this. Maybe I should have just called the police on them. Then I would have never landed myself in this situation.
Do you feel well enough to get out of bed?
Yeah, I think so. Whoa!
Trust me. I won't
Please let me
you
go. I'm not so sure about this.
I promise.
My person, the chick that we're playing, looks like a dude in this. I'm not gonna lie. I promise. Oh, okay. Let's get this one. Wait. Okay, sweet. Are you sure? Yes. Right back. I promise. Okay, I trust you.
Good.
I was speechless. He was carrying me as if I weighed nothing. He was so strong.
Thank you.
I forgot.
It's alright.
Yeah, you're used to it. I'm not. I decided to close my mouth for the time being so that I wouldn't weird him out or make things more awkward than they already were. Well, he didn't seem to mind carrying me or listening to me talk, so at least things were too strange. Damien seemed very quiet and calm about everything, especially with the situation we were in. However, there was sort of a longing in his eyes when he looked at me that wasn't lustful. It was more in admiration. Well, sir, you can sit your horny ass down. Once we reached the lobby, I decided that I felt well enough to walk on my own. As strong as he was, it was like he was carrying nothing. I didn't want to make him carry me everywhere. Yeah, that would be mortifying. Thanks for carrying me, but I think I can walk by myself now. Good job. Very great independence. Not saying that I didn't like it. I mean, I liked it, not in a weird way, of course. It's not like I get carried around all the time. What I'm saying is that it was really nice of you to do that. I started to fumble over my words again, real smooth.
It's no problem. I'll be heading to the dining room then.
All right, see ya. He gently lowered me to the ground before he walked off quietly, disappearing into the shadows of the dark lobby.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi!
Matthew, calm your shit down. Suddenly, a boy looked around my age, or possibly younger, bounced up to me. He looked vaguely familiar. Oh, wait. Ah, you're Matthew, right?
That's me.
Mm-hmm, that's me. Are you feeling any better now? We were all worried when you suddenly passed out.
I'm fine.
Really? Your face is kind of red.
No,
Do you
don't,
feel
just
sick?
stay away from me. No, I'm fine. I'm sure of it. I must have been blushing when Damien was carrying me downstairs. How embarrassing.
Well, if you say so. I hope Sam and Eric
Oh, I
didn't make
hate
you
them.
upset.
It's okay. After all, I did hit Sam after what he did, and about Eric, I just wanted you guys to prove me wrong. To prove me what about to prove to me what you were saying. I suppose incubi are real then. I wonder how exactly I got myself into this mess. First my grandfather, then the fight with my father, blowing up at I keep fucking her name up. Lizzieette. And now this. I certainly have a knack for getting myself into sticky situations.
Oh, I have an idea.
Oh, what is it? He shoved his hands into his pockets with a cheery grin on his face.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Is he trying to do a magic trick?
Ta-da!
It's somebody! I like him. What is that exactly? I don't know if it's a bunny. What the fuck are you? He smiled as if to wave it off, but when he opened his eyes and saw what he was holding, his face froze in shock.
Wait a second. What did I just make?
What he produced from his pocket was a creepy-looking doll.
What is that?
I'm not sure. Oh, it's a squirrel. Squirrel. His face paled considerably, and he dropped it onto the floor, scooting away from it frantically.
Get it away from me! I might be possessed by a demon or something!
But isn't he a demon himself?
That's not what I wanted to make! I just wanted to surprise you with a stuffed animal or just something to cheer you up. It looks like it came straight out of a
I wonder
horror
if he was
movie.
just recently turned or something. He slumped his shoulders and looked down at his feet. Aw, it's okay, you don't have to look so dejected. I mean, it's certainly unique.
But it looks so creepy.
It's the thought that counts, right? You wanted to cheer me up, after all. I picked up the doll and looked at it closely. Sure, it looked pretty weird at first, but it could be cute if I looked at it from a certain angle. I gave him a small smile. Thanks.
You're welcome. It's good to see you smiling, even though the thing I made still kind of creeps me out. Anyway, you should come with me to the dining room. We're almost finished with the food, and, well, I don't mean to brag, but we're pretty decent chefs.
See, I like him, but I don't like him, like, romantically. I think he's adorable and cute. Sounds great. Lead the way. He's very childlike. Something smells good. My stomach rumbled in agreement. I was starving.
Oh,
Fuck
the girl's
you.
awake.
Excuse me. Oh, excuse you. I have a name, you know.
Should we
Should I really care about your intestines being not hurt?
Sam, I will roast that tongue for dinner if it doesn't stop flapping in that idiotic
Yeah,
mouth
you
of
tell him,
yours.
James.
Whatever.
I apologize for
I
his
don't.
attitude.
Oh, that's fine.
Good. I hope you'll enjoy the meal we prepared for you.
Hopefully. Please tell me it's not slaughtered pig. Meal. For a second, my mind didn't understand what James meant. Maybe it was the doll getting to my head and distracting me. That's right. Damien and Matthew mentioned that they were making dinner as an apology. Oh, wait. You didn't have to.
We insist. Besides, it's quite impossible to undo our cooking, even if you command us to.
Oh, he's doing the squinty eye thingy. Alright, well, thank you. Or, I mean, he closed his eyes. Matthew put down the last of the plates on the table and bowed a bit exaggeratedly to me, gesturing to the table with a sweeping motion.
There we go. Dinner's all served.
The table was filled with various foods with the electric selection of cuisines. One portion of the table was filled with elegantly plated Asian foods, and another portion some yummy-looking desserts. And there were yet more and more plates than I could have possibly imagined. Whoa, that's a lot of food, and it all looks so good.
We hope you enjoy it.
We hope
Oh,
you
please
enjoy
stop
it, my
talking.
sweet.
That's enough.
That's enough.
Yay, please tell him
Eric.
off.
You're no fun. James.
You're no fun, James.
I don't need to.
I don't need to be fun, Eric.
Please follow
Miss, please follow
I
me.
like James' voice. James' voice is very, yes. I don't know what came over me, whether it was his politeness or maybe his power, but I couldn't help but take his offered arm. James seemed very kind and intelligent, but aside from that, there was something that set him apart from his brothers. Not to mention, he didn't really seem to hold much appreciation for them.
Miss, I have to ask. Why
I
do
was
you live
forced.
alone?
Oh, well, it's kind of a long story.
I'm all ears if you wish
No.
to tell.
Nah, I don't know. I want to say no, but I feel like at the same time she doesn't want to hold it in either. So go ahead and say it. To put it briefly, I just moved here today.
That explains the luggage you brought in when you came through the front doors. By the way, we put your belongings in the room you were sleeping in. That seems to be the master bedroom, I believe.
Thanks, this house is really big. I don't think I even explored the entirety of the estate when I was a
You
child.
lived here before?
You lived here before?
No, truth be told, this is my grandfather's house. I used to visit him all the time when I was younger.
May I ask why you now live in your grandfather's house?
He actually passed away yesterday. It was bequeathed to me in his will, and I was sent to live here, whether I liked it or not.
My condolences.
It seems like you don't like.
It seems like you don't like the idea of living here.
It's not that I don't like this house, or I don't have fond memories of being here. It's just the implications that came with staying at this estate. It's kind of complicated to explain.
How do you feel about?
How do you feel about it?
I certainly wasn't expecting that question, but in a good way. It was different from what I had heard the entire day at school. I appreciated the fact that he was willing to listen. I bet you he's feeling... Oh. I feel angry, sad, scared, and confused. It's hard picking out the different emotions that I'm feeling right now. I wish I was stronger.
You don't have to be strong.
You don't have to
yeah,
be strong.
What do you mean?
I understand that you're going through a difficult time, so it's okay to feel those emotions. You don't have to be strong at all.
Thank you.
Are you alright? There seems to be a small bruise on your
He
cheek.
caught me off guard with that comment. I thought no one would have noticed something as small as that. Oh, I'm fine. He stopped and leaned in close, a bit too close for comfort, or maybe it was just me, inspecting my face. He was really quite tall, having to bend over so much to just look at me straight in the face. It was hard to look at him, especially when he was so close. After a few seconds, he straightened up and began walking in.
Well, if you're having any problems,
Well, if you're having any problems, I'm always here to listen.
That's really kind of you to offer that.
My pleasure. Here's your seat.
Let me get your chair.
Let me get your chair for you,
Fuck
lovely
you.
lady.
Oh, Eric was charming and his smile pulled at my heart. The way he kept flirting with me definitely designated him as the charmer of the demons, yet there was a little distance in his eyes.
By the way, I apologize for my behavior earlier. Stealing your second
No,
kiss
it's
like
okay.
that.
It's okay. You wanna know why? Because I hope you don't sleep at night. You have to sleep with one fucking eye open. I do not like you. You're sleazy. Oh yeah. Well, I didn't believe that you were incubi. It's fine, I guess. I mean, you didn't just get up and grab a kiss for no reason.
I'm not as forward, unlike Sam.
Suddenly, Eric leaned in and whispered in my ear.
I won't lie though. I
Oh,
enjoyed
God.
kissing you and feeling you melt in my arms.
You guys have to understand, I don't like the sound of his voice. It's too... Oh god, I want to throw up every time he talks. I was torn between smacking him and trying to play it cool. No, just fucking smack him.
No! That's
I
going
hope
to
it does.
sting.
So sorry, I panicked.
No, I was
Fucking
expecting
good.
that.
I drew my attention back to the dishes. I was both intrigued and slightly scared by the amount of food they made. So far, I'm very abusive towards two special people. Seeing my expression, Eric leaned forward and proudly smiled, gesturing to all of the dishes with a dramatic sweep of his arm.
I made almost all.
I made almost all of the dishes
Yeah,
myself.
sounds nice. Humorously enough, Matthew looked at him with a shocked expression as if he was betrayed. His face changed instantly to that of a frown.
And I'm the Queen of the Nile.
What's that supposed to
What's that supposed to mean?
Me, you, and James did the work together, dummy.
It's you, James.
It's you, James,
Oh
and I,
no, he's
Matthew.
the grammar Nazi.
Little boys will always
Little boys will always make mistakes.
Matthew looked at James in disbelief, probably for siding with Eric, and he annoyingly swiveled it back to Eric to comfort him.
I'm not a little boy. I'm barely a year younger than you.
Well, you certainly don't act like it.
I really couldn't help but laugh. Matthew seemed very much like a kid. He was adorable. However, I couldn't help but feel like, in a way, he was much more mature than the others, especially Eric.
Huh? Is something funny?
No, it's nothing at all. Thank you for the meal, all of you.
Oh.
You're welcome, miss.
You're welcome, miss.
Such a well-mannered young lady. Beautiful inside and
Listen.
out.
I has a knife. I has a highlighter. I will fuck you up.
Eric, knock it off.
Eric, knock it
Tell him.
off.
In agreement with Matthew, Sam cocked his head up and glared at Eric.
Seriously, you're getting really annoying with that suck-up act.
It was obvious that Sam was the bad boy of the group. He had his big tough act, and it was obvious he was physically stronger than the rest of the guys. But was there more to him than that?
I'm just trying to be a gentleman. The young girl has already gone through so much. She deserves a good
I
treatment.
don't deserve shite.
There's a difference between
being a gentleman and being an obnoxious
there we go.
flirt.
Schooled even by James. You're gonna need some cold water for that burn.
Oh, hey, Damien.
By the way,
I don't believe we caught your name, even though you know each of us.
I'm Edie.
It's a pleasure to finally know your name.
Yeah, that's a nice name.
Yeah, that's a nice
They
name.
were all comfortable around me despite the awkward situation we were in. It was as if it were natural for them to be around humans. I guess that was just how incubi worked. But I was still curious about one thing. Excuse me. All at once, they looked at me. I don't know why, but having all of them look at me made me feel kind of important, like a queen or something.
What is it, miss?
What is it, miss?
I wanted to thank you for the food, but I still want to know why you all came here. I feel like I don't quite understand. Yeah, like being told that a bunch of incubi randomly appearing in your house was perfectly understandable.
Oh,
Let me explain.
how do we explain?
You were attacked.
We were attacked. We came here to heal.
What's so difficult to understand?
Now you're just being rude, Sam.
I'm just saying. How is that difficult to
No,
understand?
I mean, what specifically happened?
Well, you see, we've been traveling around for quite some time now. Just recently we came into town, but we were jumped by this band of...
What were
misfits.
these misfits?
So, in order to escape and heal, we came here for shelter. Again, we apologize for the mess we made.
It's fine, I guess, so you're all better now, right?
All thanks
Yup,
to you.
all thanks to you.
Huh? Me?
You see, beautiful.
You see, beautiful, we feed on sexual energy. But we don't just get it from kissing lovely ladies such as yourself. We can simply touch someone's hand to obtain sexual energy. Everyone carries sexual energy, you know.
I was still unshocked about their powers. It wasn't just kisses that give them power, it was anything physical. No wonder I was out for a while. These incubi intrigued me, but at the same time, I can almost hear a warning siren going off in my head. Bitch, I've been having red flags pop since they popped in your house.
Is there anything else you
Is there anything else you wish to
Can
know?
you leave? Well, what do you all plan to do now?
Yeah, what are we gonna do now, James?
That is a very good question. We just got here, and surely we'll be hunted again if we leave.
We can take him.
Shut up,
easily.
Sam.
Not without more training, Sam. The result of that was clearly evident in our last encounter with them.
At that moment, I didn't know what came over me, but I suddenly felt sorry for them. They couldn't possibly survive out there, and they didn't know it was. If they didn't know it was illegal to break into people's homes, they probably didn't know a bunch of other stuff. They probably would cause chaos all over town. Or, on the flip side, they could be taken in for questioning and be poked and probed like lab frogs for research. That was even worse. But most of all, they reminded me of back then. I was standing alone. The entire classroom was filled with laughter and chatter, but I stood in the midst of it, quiet and alone. It was strange seeing the whole world pass in front of me with such vibrancy, all while I stood there. On the plus side, I wasn't engaged in any of the drama that might have been arisen, like scribbling on someone's paper for revenge or kicking someone too hard. It was kind of nice just standing back and watching things pass by and life go on. I had long before convinced myself that I preferred being alone. I often said to myself in encouragement, yeah, I want to be alone. There's no one I like better than me, so I ought to spend more time with myself. But there was a certain bitterness that coupled with being alone made me feel so sad. There was a difference between being alone and lonely. I just didn't realize it at that moment. And even after that moment, my father, my mother, there was no one to turn to. I was so lonely. That's when I decided on it right then. I was going to see my grandfather. I didn't care if my father wouldn't take me. I was going to walk my way over there and see what he had to say about it. I had never met him before. I had never seen him before that. What better time to see him then? If no one else was going to help me with what I was feeling, I might as well have turned to him. So after school, I decided to walk there. I have no idea how to get there, and that I was armed with only a scrap of paper with the address scribbled on it. As a 7-year-old, I obviously had great ideas. I soon became lost, and, like I always did when I felt lost, I just stood there on the sidewalk, back pressed up against the wall, and eyes looked at the strangers passing by. And, like always, people continued to pass by, and life continued to go on. I was sadder than ever. I had ended up in the situation I was originally in. Nothing had changed. I thought that I was silly for even thinking that I could change things with my own hands. That was until a voice brought me back to reality.
Hun, is that you?
I looked up and saw an unfamiliar face, but it was obvious that whoever was talking to me knew who I was. And from that moment, things began to change. Life began moving its rusty joints, and I realized that things were moving along. Suddenly, I became part of the crowd that moved like a blur past me. I was no longer someone who stood still and watched others hurry past me. Life had changed. I had changed. Because the very person who found me that day was my grandfather. I had the opportunity to help them, though would I? I wanted to, but I wasn't sure if that was the best idea. After all, 5 demons in my house wasn't exactly the living arrangement that I had imagined when I first moved in. There was the matter of making sure no one found out about their powers, thinking about them as lab rats, about my stomach queasy. And even if they passed for humans, how would I explain having guys living in my house? Imagine if my friends came over. They would practically think I was part of a harem or something. Oh God, imagine if my parents came over. I think my mom would faint. Who knows what my dad would do? I think he would have them arrested on the spot. That was hard. Maybe I should have written out a pros and cons list before actually having to make a decision.
Don't worry too much about it. You have plenty of time to decide. Besides, you should do what makes you happy as well.
It was strange that I happened to remember what my grandfather said to me when I was little, but it did make sense. That I weren't in the same exact situation that I was in before, but I did want to help them out. I think it was easy for my conscience and also make me a bit happy to give them help, as weird as that sounded. Clenching my hands into fists, I strengthened my resolve to speak up. Well, you could.
What was that?
What was that, lovely lady?
I will change my decision very quickly if you shush.
Spit it out already.
Spit it out already.
Listen, you skank. You can stay with me if you like. As soon as I finished my sentence, the room became still. I'm not sure what went through their heads from my words. The silence in the air cut like a knife until I finally spoke up once more. It seemed like you all need a place to stay, and well, I just moved into this giant house, so it seemed like it would make sense. It was still quiet in the room. I decided to keep talking. If you would like to stay here, though, there are 2 things that I need all of you to follow.
Yes?
First of all, you can't use your powers or deliberately do anything or do something that might harm me or any guest that comes over. Well, safe for the enemies, but you get the drift.
That sounds reasonable.
Second, you have to help me with any errand around the house. This place is kind of big, so yeah.
That is a generous offer, miss.
Are you sure that would be okay?
Are you sure that would be okay?
We don't wish to burden
you any more than we already have.
That's alright, really. I mean, I just started living here myself, so I would appreciate some help around the house.
A wonderful idea. We'll live here and train while helping you with the house. Servants for the lovely
You know what?
princess.
Sam could live in the doghouse.
What?
What?
Serious?
Are you serious?
Shh, be quiet, Sam. I haven't slept in a bed for days.
They all seem to like the idea except for Sam. And hey, I don't really hate the idea either, even if they were incubi. It would be interesting having 5 guys help me with taking care of the house, given they would follow the rules that I had just laid down.
Fine. But we're not staying here forever. Only until we can beat up that group of punks.
I think that is a reasonable time limit for our stay.
Yes, this is awesome.
Also beautiful. If you need a bedfellow.
Eric, knock it off.
I was happy that they agreed. Started something new. Maybe it was because I wasn't going to be lonely for a while. Maybe it was because they all needed help and my want to help people was fulfilled. I would never be sure.
So what are we waiting for? Let's celebrate and dig in.
Finally, I'm starving.
Instantly, Matthew and Sam began to stuff themselves with food on the table. I noticed James' eye twitching in irritation, so I stifled my incoming laugh.
Really, you two? You're both acting like pigs.
Oh, let them have a little freedom, James. It's not like we've eaten recently either. I'm sure they've been starving.
Still, that's no excuse for stuffing their faces like backyard swine.
I almost couldn't hold it in, but I did, so he didn't. I couldn't hold in my laughter anymore. As I laughed, Matthew and Sam looked at my face and stuff.
What are you laughing
I
at?
stopped to catch my breath. I leaned over the table and I took a few breaths before replying. You both are so funny. Both of their faces turned a slight pink before they looked away from me, and they swallowed the food in their mouths.
Shut up!
Shut up! We're not funny.
You're hilarious.
We're hungry.
Well, we're glad that we made you laugh.
Shut up, Matthew!
What? I'm
Oh.
just saying.
Oh god, this story is making me feel so many different emotions.
See, James, it's entertainment for her.
They were funny to me. At least they enjoyed the food. As I watched, I took a couple of pieces of food for myself and placed them on my plate before eating as well. Eventually, we all ate dinner together. It was strange, eating with just guys, but they were enjoyable to be around. They made me feel like a part of their family as we ate together. However, our peace was soon disturbed. Huh? It's my mom. Excuse me. Hello?
Hey, honey, how are you? I'm sorry I didn't get to see you off.
Hi, Mom. Everything's fine. I'm actually eating dinner right now.
Oh, good, good. So there was food there. Well, your father wanted me to call and talk to you about having a house party tomorrow night to celebrate the new house and all.
A house party tomorrow night? So soon?
Your father insists. You know how he is with events.
I know exactly what she meant. He didn't like long, relaxing periods between important events. It was slightly messed up. I was expected to act on the drop of a dime, from moving immediately the day after a funeral to my grandfather's house to now organizing a party. I know, well, since I don't exactly have you two here to help me arrange it, I'm going to need some time to prepare things.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, Suzu and Naomi can help. I have work, and you know how your father is.
I know, I have to do it myself. He won't help.
I'm sure it'll be amazing, honey. I have faith in you.
Thanks, Mom.
All right, I gotta go. I love
Love you too, Mom. Great, now how am I going to do this?
Is something wrong?
She has to organize a house party for her parents.
How did you... Oh, right, mind reading. But yeah, I gotta do it soon or my parents will be really disappointed. I'll have to stay up and organize everything tonight.
Hey, why don't we help you? That's what we're here for, right?
I don't see why not.
I can name a few reasons why we shouldn't.
Sam?
Back off.
We'll take care of everything, miss. Just leave everything
No,
to
no, no,
us.
no, no. That was surprising. I didn't think the boys would offer help right off the bat. I couldn't help but smile. I was actually rather thankful now that I let them stay. Now I don't have to do anything alone. As I kept thinking about it, I couldn't help but yawn.
Feeling a little tired
Listen,
over there,
sir,
princess?
I will fuck you up. Yeah, haha, it's been a long day. At least tomorrow's the weekend so I can sleep in. Then it hit me. Wait, where are you all going to sleep?
We found some guest rooms on the opposite end of the house from the master bedroom. I'm sure those will
Oh,
do just
sweet.
fine.
Oh, got it. Alright then, I'm heading to my room to study and sleep. I guess I'll see you all tomorrow.
Have a good night.
I will, you too. With that, I left the dining room and went to my room.
Eric, no.
What? I wasn't
Yes, the
going to
fuck you
do
were.
anything.
Yes, it was.
As soon as I got into my room, a wave of exhaustion hit me. I would have locked the door. Why am I so tired all of a sudden? I just woke up from that nap. I dragged myself to my bed and hauled up one of my bags. I opened it and grabbed my economics book, knowing that no matter how tired I was, I had to study at least 1 or 2 pages before going to bed. The words on the page scrambled in my mind as I read through them, but after 2 or 3 tries, I managed to understand what the page was about. Equations. Ugh. Yeah, equations are actually kind of cool. Finally, I decided to change into my pajamas and head to bed. Today had been a long day and I needed a rest. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. 3 days of surprises in a row would kill me. With that thought in my mind, I drifted to sleep, embracing the darkness of slumber.
You fucking pretty boys think you're all that, huh? Well, save that to the end of my pistol!
What's going on? I couldn't move my body. I felt like I was tied up and I couldn't see anything beyond the darkness that surrounded me. Yet, I could hear the sounds of a heated argument coming at me from all directions.
One move and she gets it!
Let her go!
Matthew?
Come on, chicken shit. Fight us like a real man.
Like you scare me, Sam! Come on! Take one step. I dare you.
Why can't I see?
Stay away from her, Malix!
And what are you gonna do, nerd boy?
Suddenly, I felt myself pulled to one side and arms wrapped around my body protectively.
I've got you.
Oh,
Don't
great,
worry.
you're touching me. Huh? Eric? As I was held in a tight embrace, I felt the world around me once again settle into a low, peaceful hum. The hostility of the dream before had faded into black as the arms around me rocked me comfortably. Slowly, though, my eyes fluttered open and I looked up at the person holding me. Damien? I stared into his eyes with Damien. His face was painted with worry and concern, and I knew he must have seen my dream. Why did I dream of Eric holding me?
You can't control your dreams.
Oh, well, I guess you're right.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. What time is it?
It's 9 a.m. James and I were making breakfast when I,
You can't control your mind reading?
No. Not yet, at least. I hope to learn eventually, though.
Is everything
Huh?
alright?
Yeah, I'm fine.
That's good. I'm assuming you had a
Yeah.
nightmare.
I'm sorry for disturbing you both.
You didn't disturb us, miss. Besides, we'd rather make sure you're okay before anything.
Oh, thank you.
Now, why don't you come downstairs with us and have some breakfast? I'm sure some nice food will take your mind off of what you dreamt
I bet
of.
you it was a real fucking dream. Or not a real dream, but a real event that happened. It was embracing to be the damsel in distress once again, but I felt rather happy that James and Damien were concerned for me, despite only knowing me for a short time. I wasn't sure if it was just courtesy or if they were genuinely concerned. I couldn't exactly read their minds. Alright. The two boys led me back to the dining room, where the smell of bacon and eggs danced in the air. The smell wafted from the kitchen and made its way into the room, making my stomach growl in the need. Breakfast smells good.
We should be done with breakfast soon. If you want to sit down at the table, you can.
I nodded before sitting down. As I sat down, however, my mind drifted back to the dream I had. The feeling of hostility around me made my body shudder instinctively, even though I knew it wasn't real. However, as my eyes closed, I felt a hand place itself on top of my head, breaking me out of my thoughts. Huh?
Morning. You alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. Sam, the owner of the hand on my head, raised an eyebrow at me before rustling my hair and moving away to sit down at the table. He then barked towards the kitchen where James was working.
Hey!
Hey, is the food done yet? I'm starving.
There's no need to yell, Sam!
You're yelling too.
Don't argue
Oh,
with
I
me!
love the relationship. From behind me, Eric appeared and sat beside me, rubbing his temples in obvious annoyance.
Can we not yell this early in the morning? It's not like we're in the castle.
Castle? For some reason, when I heard the word castle, I couldn't help but yell in surprise. These guys had a castle? Sam looked at me and smirked at my reaction.
Yeah, we have a castle back home. Our dining room's 10 times bigger than this room.
And wouldn't it be logical to not yell?
Whatever.
Soon, James and Damien appeared, hands full of plates that carried bacon, eggs, toast, and waffles. They had placed the plates down by each seat before seating themselves. You know, lady, they're obviously tired. You should be fucking helping.
My favorite.
And the snake talked.
Finally.
Thank you for the breakfast. It looks amazing.
It's our pleasure.
All of a sudden, my phone began to ring, ushering me to pull it from my pocket and answer. Hello?
Hey, good morning! Guess who's at your door right now?
Right on cue, there was a knock from the lobby door. My heart stopped. Suzu and Naomi were here.
I'll get it.
My heart quickly began to pound in my chest. Matthew was in the lobby, and he'd get to the door first. I instantly jumped out of my chair and rushed out to the dining room. As I passed through archway between the dining room and the lobby, I saw Matthew reach his hand for the brass door, causing the world to go into slow motion. Matthew, don't! But before my words could reach his ears, Matthew had opened the door and revealed the surprised faces of Naomi and Suzu. The world around me stopped as Suzu and Naomi kept their eyes on Matthew, who merely stared back in fear and embarrassment. I could feel the air go from warm to freezing in a matter of seconds.
Hi?
I could not believe that this was happening. How was I going to explain this? This week was already bad enough. To make matters worse, I was frozen in place. Please, for God's sake, someone to do something other than stand there.
Who are you?
So, Susie, let me explain.
What's going on here?
Who's at the door, Matthew?
Some of the other incubi appeared at the lobby with us. The situation was not getting pretty. I have to think fast. They're in your head, they're visitors, they're my brothers.
They're your brothers? They're your brothers? Since when did you have brothers?
There was no use. There was no time to lie to them. I felt then I felt a hand on my shoulder and I felt the tension in my body almost fade away. I turned my head to see James smile at me before stepping in front of me.
We must apologize, ladies. We know the situation must be confusing for everyone. Let's take this to the dining room and we'll explain everything.
I stared at James wide-eyed. Was he going to tell them who they were? Everything was surreal. Before I knew it, I was led to the dining room along with Suzu and Naomi and sat across from their confused gazes. As Naomi and Suzu sat down, Eric and Matthew placed their untouched plates of food in front of them, surprising their guest.
Whoa, this looks amazing! Thank you!
Our pleasure, ladies. We hope you
Eric,
enjoy
you
your
shut your filthy mouth.
Make sure you dig in.
Make sure you dig in.
I looked at Naomi and Suzu as they began to eat, visibly enjoying every bite they placed in their mouths. Hopefully, the food would ease their minds for whatever James wanted to reveal. As Naomi and Suzu ate their impromptu meals, James and the other boys stood behind my chair, making me grow more red in the face.
So, Anderson, are you gonna tell us what's going on?
Well, you see, gently, James placed a hand on my shoulder again, signaling me to just eat my food. As I began to eat, he spoke to Naomi and Suzu.
We are Miss Anderson's house servants. We were hired by her late grandfather to help around the mansion, but since he has passed, we now assist Miss Anderson with living on her
I
own.
should have said servants.
That makes sense. It's such a huge house.
A huge house for a wonderful princess such as Miss Anderson deserves the
Eric,
greatest of servants
shush.
to care for it.
But why are you all dressed so casually and stuff? Aren't servants supposed to have uniforms or whatever?
Well, Miss Anderson allows us to get comfy while we work, so she lets us wear casual clothes.
Yeah, something like that.
We're sorry if we made this situation awkward earlier.
We're very sure that Miss Anderson is also still getting used to having us as her servants. It would be very hard to explain after just a day.
I guess.
So, if I may ask, what brings you two ladies here?
Well, we wanted to see how our friend was doing. Since it's the weekend and all, usually we hang out and just chill.
Yeah, like going to the arcade and stuff.
Or the Pink Lady Cafe.
There's an arcade?
That makes a lot of sense, ladies. Well, we don't wish to disturb you any further than we have, so we'll take our leave and start preparing the house.
Huh? Preparing for what?
We gotta prep the house for some sort of housewarming party thing.
Our princess's parents requested a housewarming party to be held here soon.
And by soon, they mean tonight.
Oh, well, I guess we can help out or something. Right, Naomi?
I thought you wanted to go to the arcade.
This housewarming thing is more important.
No need. We can handle it. If you'd like to, miss, you can go out with your friends while we handle things here.
Seriously?
Sam, not now.
Well, I wanted to help out, but at the same time, I wanted to go out with my friends. James gave me a look of understanding, letting me know that if I left, everything would be okay. I had to make a decision. I'll go out with Susie and Naomi, or I'll stay and help around the house. No, because I'd rather business before pleasure. So I'm going to help around the house.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Besides, it is my housewarming party. I should help too.
Want us to
Sure.
help out as well?
I think we got it all taken care of. Thanks though, girls.
Alright, we'll head on out then so we're not in the way.
Sorry guys, I'll hang out with you guys soon.
It's all good, Anderson. We'll definitely come to the housewarming
Good.
party tonight.
Thank you. I led them back into the lobby and walked them to the door, opening it for them with a thankful smile. They both gave me hugs before walking out to Naomi's car, which was parked in the driveway. And with that, they left. I was happy that they wanted to help, but I had to do this on my own. It was not their work, so I didn't want to force it on them just because they were my best friends. We had the entire day to work. The party was tonight, and we had to do all we could to make everything right. We sat down and talked about what needed to be happen before the party started that night. Each guy had been assigned a different part of the party to do, and right after lunch we began to work. Since everything was taken care of by at least one incubus, James told me I could assist one of them. The question was, who? Eric with the dining room, Matthew with the cooking. Aw, Davey with the lobby. James with the garden. Sam with the front yard. Okay, so I know I had my difference with Sam, so I'm probably gonna go with Sam on this one. But if I wasn't gonna pick Sam, it probably would have been either James in the garden or Matthew with cooking. Now if I had done a second, or even Davey in the lobby. But I like garden things. And I specifically like the front yard decor. Sorry. The front yard decor more than anything else. Because I always feel like I like introducing people to, what the thing is. So I'm going to help Sam. I walked out in the front yard to see Sam not cleaning, but doing slow motions with his hands and arms. He was doing tai chi, a form of martial arts I had previously learned aside from taekwondo. However, he wasn't cleaning, which made me cross my arms and glare at him. Aren't we supposed to be cleaning the front yard?
You were taking too long. I already finished cleaning.
What? I looked around the front and noticed that the windows were polished, the weeds were pulled and tossed out from the sidewalk, the lamps were wiped down, and the stairs were swept. He really did finish cleaning. We literally disbanded a mere minute ago, though. Wow, you work fast. Sam didn't respond. He kept his eyes closed and continued to do his tai chi. For a guy who wanted to be a badass, I would have imagined him doing hard workouts or karate moves for practice. Tai chi. Now, I do apologize if I'm that specific martial arts if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. I actually have only heard of taekwondo, karate, and oh my god, there was one more. But I've never heard of this one. Tai Chi was not what I expected out of him. I stood there wondering what to do. I would join him. Let's join him. I remained quiet as I stood beside him and began to move along with his movements. He was going so low, so it was easy to follow along.
What are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
This isn't supposed to be fun, okay? It's actually supposed to be
I know.
difficult.
Sam opened an eye to look at me without breaking his motions before closing it and continuing. I followed along flawlessly, keeping to his speed. It was very relaxing until I managed to trip over my feet and land on Sam.
Hey! Watch it!
I'm sorry, the facial expressions are, like, on point. So sorry, I had landed on top of Sam, staring eye to eye with him. Sam and I couldn't stop blushing, nor did either of us move from the ground. I could hear my heart pounding against his chest. Sam didn't move a muscle, but just stared at me in embarrassment. I eventually moved up off of him, and brushed myself off with a large blush on my face. Sam sat up and rubbed his head.
Man, watch where you're going next time.
I nodded. He stood up and looked at me for a moment. I could see in his eyes that he was concerned if I was okay, but he refused to ask. God, my English. I smiled before walking into the house. I heard him sigh before I walked out of earshot. The hour of the house party had arrived. In my mind, I kept double and triple checking for essentials for the party. Knowing my dad, he invited his business partners and the executives of the Anderson Company to show me off. I stood in front of the mirror in my room, staring at my form as a million thoughts ran through my head. It was just a housewarming party, but at the same time, it wasn't. It was my chance to show my dad that I was better than his expectations. It was a chance for me to see my parents as a woman. It was my test to see if I was really ready to live on my own. Well, not truly alone. I had the incubi to thank, but even so, I didn't have my dad guiding me or my mom helping me through living alone. A knock on my door broke my thought, surprising me. Who is it?
Hey, are you okay in there? Your parents should be here soon, so you should hurry getting ready.
Well, I'm ready, but...
But what? I'm sure you look fine, Anderson.
You know you're my friend. You should be using my first name. Alright. As soon as I opened the door to the hall, I watched as Naomi and Suzui's faces turned from smiles to complete awestruck stares. What?
Dude, you look hot.
Yeah, you look amazing. Where did you get that dress?
I've had it for a while. I just never had the chance to wear it. I figure I might as well bring it out now. I stepped out of my room and closed my bedroom door behind me. As I walked down the hall to the grand lobby, the incubi stood waiting for me at the bottom, all dressed to the nines as proper servants.
Whoa! They really know how to dress well, don't they?
Yeah. As I was slightly taken aback at how great the boys looked in their uniform. Each had the poise of a perfect gentleman, even Sam. I slowly began to climb down the steps with Suzui and Naomi behind me. The boys watched as I descended the staircase as one step at a time, like knights waiting for their princess. I felt my face slightly flush, but I quickly shook my head to try and regain my thoughts. As I reached the last step, James offered his hand out to me and walked me down to the final step, smiling.
As beautiful as a princess, miss.
Thanks, man.
So, are you prepared for tonight?
As ready as I'll ever be. I couldn't deny that I was nervous, but I had to try. This party was more than what it seemed, and I hadn't done all that I could to prepare for it. Now it was all up to fate. The other boy smiled assuringly to me. What made me feel a little better about everything, I looked at my phone and marked that time. Almost right on cue to the doorbell rang, I gulped. I could practically feel my dad's aurora from behind that door. Sam and Eric quickly rushed to the door and opened the double doors wide to reveal my parents, both dressed in their best. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad.
Oh my. I didn't know your bequeathment came with servants.
It was probably overlooked. Besides, who would deny good service?
I was completely shocked. My parents didn't even question the boys. They didn't ask for verification or anything. I looked at the boys and noticed Sam and Eric staring intently at my parents. Were they using their powers on them? They had to be. There was no way they'd be okay with this otherwise.
I guess the servants counted as belongings to the house.
My mother quickly rushed to me and gave me a large hug. I hugged her back, inhaling her perfume. It had only been a couple of days, but living away from the ones who raised me was hard. My mother soon let me go and looked at my outfit.
Gorgeous. You look so lovely. David, look at your daughter and tell her I'm right.
I looked at my dad, who was looking around the lobby like an inspector. I stood my ground, waiting for him to look at me. When he did, he let out a small smile grace his lips.
Your mother's right. You look like you're all grown up.
The world around me stopped as my heart pounded hard into my chest. Did my dad just compliment me on his own accord? My mother was grinning ear to ear at his words. I was beyond speechless. Thank you, Daddy. However, his cold face quickly returned as he began to look around once again.
I assume that you're ready, then, to impress the rest of the guests, correct?
What do you mean?
The entire board from Anderson Toys is coming tonight. Even the vice chairman's son will be coming. All of them will be measuring your potential.
My potential?
To become CEO of the company.
I knew it. Something was off about tonight, and now this party had become much more than I anticipated. I gulped silently, but I nodded in response. I looked at the incubi, but they were counting to be servants for my father's approval. I looked behind me and saw Naomi and Susie raise their thumbs at me for encouragement. I let out a small breath before feeling my body accept the situation. I felt a weight in my gut, but I had to hide it. As if time zoomed forward, all of a sudden the main hall of the lobby was full of guests. Men and women in formal or business attire showed up to meet me and see my new home. I didn't expect many to come, but I was once again surprised that night. I shook hands with many officials and executive members, putting on the professional face my dad trained me to have. I felt overwhelmed, but I hid it behind a small smile and a handshake. Many even asked me questions. I tried my best to reply as maturely as possible. I had to remember, say what they want to hear, not what you want to say.
So, how do you feel living on your own at such a young age?
It was pretty good, actually. I'm doing my best. Well, I feel fine. Could be better, but to be honest, it's difficult being independent. I wish I was still living with my parents.
I'm so sorry about your grandfather passing away. It really hit all of us hard.
Excuse me, I need to go. Sorry, but I don't want to talk about it. Thank you for your consolence.
Do you have college plans?
I must live in present, so if it's much not... Yes, I do. I felt like the questions came up after another. It was tough to answer some of them, but because they weren't about me, they were about the company.
What do you think will happen with the company now that your grandfather has passed?
It's hard to say. I'm not executive or anything. That depends on who runs it, I guess. Don't ask me. I'm not an icon.
What do you think of the philanthropic policy the company has?
It's a policy that reflects my own values, so I personally think it's great. If it were up to me, I would be more concerned with profits.
Do you think the company should expand from just toys?
It's a toy company. Why? I don't think that makes any sense. I gotta leave it out. It's a possibility. Eventually, the question stopped, and I was stuck, and I was back to being myself. Naomi and Suzu was mingling in the crowds, and the incubi were doing their job, so I was all alone in a room full of strangers. It was unnerving to think about, but at least I wasn't being questioned left and right anymore. Suddenly, though, my mom pushed her way through the crowd to me, bringing along someone I didn't know.
Honey, I'd like to introduce you to someone. This kind gentleman is the son of the vice chairman.
He's not even attractive. With my mother stood a man who looked only a couple of years older than me. He smiled and held out his hand to me, silently asking me for my hand.
Hi, I'm
You have a
Andrew
nice
Lewis.
voice, though.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Anderson.
Simply nodded him, place your hand in his. As I placed my hand in his, he raised it to his lips and kissed over my knuckles. I felt my face burn slightly at the gesture. Andrew smiled at me before releasing my hand.
I'm honored to be invited here.
My mother smiled at both of us, which made me slightly concerned. Why was she excited to introduce me to Andrew?
So, you organized this party very well, Miss Anderson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Praise is very much deserved.
Andrew even then chuckled nervously, bringing a soft fist to his lips to cover his laugh properly before smiling at me.
I'm sorry if I seem a little forward. I've just been excited to meet Harold Anderson's granddaughter.
Why?
He used to talk about you all the time in the office on how you helped him refine his toys. I only attended meetings and heard all of the stories. You've helped a lot with the success of the company without having to actually work there.
Oh wow, I didn't know he talked about me. That would explain everyone's fascination with me and their rather personal questions. I looked to Andrew, who had a kind face to me. Something about him seemed off, and I didn't know what it was. He seemed to be hiding something. Whether it was good or bad, I was not able to find out. I felt someone walk up beside me, causing me to turn to them. Next to me was my father, giving his cold stare to Andrew, who suddenly became tense.
So, you're Jared's son.
Andrew's body twitched slightly, whether it was fear or insult. Andrew locked his eyes with my father. I couldn't help but feel the tension between them. It irked me how fragile the air had become, even to break at the wrong word.
You're the one who wants to be the next CEO of the Anderson Company.
Well...
I stared at Andrew. This guy wanted to take my grandfather's place as CEO. I thought the vice chairman wanted the position.
David, leave the poor boy alone.
I'm merely testing the boys' conversational skills. Nothing wrong with that.
Of course not, sir.
And polite as well. Interesting.
If you'll excuse me.
Quickly, Andrew retreated away from my family into the crowd of people. I'm gonna stay put. I watched as he disappeared into the crowd towards the back of the house. I was worried, but I gave him his space. He obviously needed it.
Peh. He is not CEO.
And you fucking are?
That's because you practically interrogated
That's
the
my
young
face
man.
right now. You see this woman? That's my face.
A little questioning shouldn't have bothered him. He's obviously not ready for any title in our
I
company.
bit my tongue. I didn't want to make a scene with my dad. One wrong word and he'd lecture me in front of everyone. That was not something that I wanted at my housewarming party. I let out a sigh before looking at the clock. It was getting close to midnight, meaning that the party was going to end soon. I lowered my gaze out the window and saw a limo pull up. Huh? Whose limo is that?
Oh, that must be Lewis's car.
I'll go get him. Stay with your father so you can escort your guests out together.
Yes, Mother. My mother left my dad and me to slowly escort the guest out. My dad held his simple smile as he thanked each person for coming. I did the same. Andrew quickly passed the doors before I could speak. Eventually, only Seduce, Naomi, my parents, and the incubi were left. My dad suddenly walked over and placed a hand on my shoulder with a smile. I stared up at him, a wave of confusion washing over my face. What?
You did good tonight. I'm proud.
I don't know if that's true. Oh, thank you, Dad.
Keep it up, and you'll be a
There you
good
go. You fucked it
CEO.
up. Oh, right.
All right. Your mother
Dad
and I have
approves.
to leave. I'm sure Naomi and Suzu need to leave as well. Just because it's Saturday doesn't mean you should stay up all night.
Right, Dad.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. It was a great party.
We'll come visit tomorrow or something.
Great.
Alright?
See ya.
Good night, sweetie. Come visit us
Will
soon.
do. All four of my remaining guests left the building, all but my dad waving back to me. With the last of the guests gone, I sighed and sat on the staircase exhausted. Phew, that was tiring.
It's not like you had to do any work, though.
Give her a break, man. She was getting interrogated left and right.
She handled herself the best she could.
As expected, princess.
Since you're exhausted, why not head to bed? We can clean up.
Hush,
Are
Sam.
you guys sure?
Positive. It shouldn't take long.
Ho ho ho! It didn't take long to find you little shits after all.
I felt a hot shudder run down my spine. That voice from my dreams echoed through the air into my ears. I looked around, panicked. Alongside the incubi, James placed a hand on my shoulder, trying to remain calm.
Don't worry. No one will hurt you.
Are you sure? Are you really sure?
All of us shot our heads towards the doors, finally pinning down the direction of the voice. The doors quickly swung open, revealing a sight I would never expected to see. What are you? Skin red as blood, eyes black and gold piercing into mine. Right, roughened up clothes and a pistol in his hand, I saw a monster. I covered my mouth to not scream at the sight. Dried blood covered the bandana covered his neck. How the fuck can you tell? Around his neck as he smirked at me and the boys around me. Beside the red-skinned man was a similar woman in matching thug-like clothes.
Oh, what's the matter, boys? You really didn't think I wouldn't find you, did you?
I hoped you would, you
All
piece
of
of...
a sudden, the man raised a gun at Sam's face and instantly pulled the trigger. We all gasped and shocked, instinctively expecting to see a bullet run through Sam's face, but... What the fuck? What should have been headshot headed with a loud bang, loud but empty blank shot, the pistol echoed in its empty shots as the man grew more and more pissed, pulling the trigger over and over in aggravation. Luckily for my ears, it became quieter after its first shot.
Why the fuck won't you work?
This place is protected.
What did you say, shrimp?
This place has a seal, protecting it from hellborn magic.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
The man growled and threw his gun at Sam, who was able to dodge it in time. The pistol bounced off the ground a couple of times before sliding further away, hitting the wall in the final stop. As it stopped moving, the gun faded into a black flame that disappeared into the air.
The previous owner had this place protected by magic, Malix.
Malix, that was his name. His existence resonated in my memory from the dream I had. However, I looked to Matthew in the same confusion as Malix did. This place is protected by magic?
It would seem that your grandfather had some sort of protected barrier around this house. From the looks of it, it only disables hellborn magic.
Malix's face grew to that of extreme anger, his fist tightening as if he was crushing a stress ball.
What's stopping me from dragging your asses out and shooting you then?
Out of pure instinct, I stepped forward and placed myself between Malix and the boys. With no power, Malix wasn't going to fight. I took that chance to stand up to him instead, being powerless like I was in the dream. Malix suddenly laughed wildly, staring at me in dismay.
Whoa! Let the bitch out of her cage! What is this? Reverse harem or something?
Malix grinned at me evilly, walking close to me. Duck, run, I can't. What? Duck.
Hey! Let her go!
Hey! Let her go!
Sam! Eric!
I have no idea what the first paragraph said. Within mere seconds, Sam had punched Malix square in the jaw, forcing him to let my hair go. As I fumbled back, Eric caught me in his arms, gently pulling me away from Malix in the group.
Come on, Sam. You and me. Right here. Let's go!
British?
Come on, asswipe!
However, before both could fight, the woman stepped forward and placed a firm grip on Malix's shoulder.
That's enough, Malix.
What? Who do you think you're speaking to, woman?
The girl who's going to help you kill them. Just not now.
Not now?
I stared as the girl spoke down at Malix. She looked the same, just like pure evil. However, she seemed to be concerned for Malix, or for me.
There's 5 of them and 2 of us. Even if we come back with the gang, they can have the place surrounded by human police.
We shoot everyone! We shoot everyone!
Think! If we shoot everyone, we'll be hunted. And it'll be a matter of time before makeshift paladins come and try to exorcise us.
They must be real demons. The two growled at each other. If they could have used their magic, I could sense the fire would glow from under their teeth. Malix grunted and glared at the boys. He pointed at James, wanting so badly to use his fingers like a knife.
Just wait, pretty boys. We'll get you and fuck you up real good.
Then, Malix turned to me, moving his fingers to point directly between my eyes.
And don't think you're safe. Step outside. I dare you.
With that, Malix and the woman walked out of the mansion. The doors closed behind them, leaving the boys and I alone once again. I felt my knees give out under me, forcing the boys to quickly run to catch me.
Whoa!
Yeah, why was he here?
He's been closely tracking us. Our blood trail from the forest must have led him here.
Should have stopped him and finished it here.
For once, Matthew, I agree with you.
I stood up and rubbed my arms, feeling the goosebumps Malix left behind on me. I couldn't stop myself from shivering in fear of his words. Malix, was he a demon?
That son of a bitch is not a demon. He's a devil.
A devil? There's a difference.
Yes, demons come from a different plane of existence called the abyssal planes. Devils, however, come from one of the 7 circles of a place humans know. It's hell. Despite us not being human, we are very different creatures.
We actually have brains, for one. Devils always like to cause trouble and try to kill or torture others for their own enjoyment. Demons, like us, know when to use our powers and when not to. We're not stupid.
Devils follow orders from higher-ups in their order, and their power only comes from their connection to hell. Demons all have free wills and don't rely on where they came from to use their powers.
This was all so confusing. Demons and devils and magic all existed, and I happened to land in the middle of it. What do we do?
You're safe. You've been protected as well.
Huh?
What Damien's saying is that the magic that protects this place also protects you.
Your grandfather must have cast it when you last saw him or something of that nature. We can sense its aura around your body.
I couldn't believe my ears. It was the 3rd day of surprises, and this one took the cake in being the most surprising. I felt my head spin once again. What did I get myself into?
Miss, please don't worry. We'll find a way to train ourselves and become stronger to finally finish this feud.
Kick his ass right now!
Until then, we'll protect you as much as we can. If Malix comes back, we'll be here for you.
But what about going outside? Won't he?
Like we said, you have a protection spell on you. Even if Malix attacks you, he won't be able to use his magic on you. He'd be just like any other human you can fight back against.
Didn't you say you knew Taekwondo?
Oh yeah. I felt somehow relieved that I was mostly safe from Malix. Still, I could not help but feel very nervous and apprehensive about the future. The boys were safe, here to train and become stronger, but what if Malix did the same? Even more so, I was lost about how my grandfather knew about magic. I had to find out. At least I had time. Green apples. I went to bed that night feeling nervous. Despite the words of the incubi, I felt like I was a target to something. I'd never be able to explain or prove magic. No proof. Magic? Devils? Demons? How did this all even happen? Shall I really meddle with the situation? They are only staying until after they defeat Malix. That's right. They said they'd only stay until after they defeated Malix. After that, my life could go back to normal. Temporary insanity, as Kay would say. The question was that, would I want them to leave? And my life went back to normal. Then I'd have to care for the house all on my own. I'd get to focus on my life instead of being distracted by the boys. I'd have to. My life. Where was my life going anyway? I was under pressure from my parents with only my friends and the boys to comfort me. Without the boys, I'd have no way to hide from my responsibilities. Enough. Let's just get to sleep and deal with tomorrow when it comes. Defeating my sense of thought, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what thought tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully, whatever the future had for me, I would be ready for it.
I promise to be with you forever. You're so important to me.
I swear I'll give my life to you.
Please, let me love you.
I'll be by your side. Always.
I can't imagine living without you. I want to be with you.
I love you.
I slowly opened my eyes, letting the voices of my dream echo in my head and force me awake. I rubbed my eyes before sitting up and looking at my clock. 7 a.m.? Why am I up so early? I fell back onto the bed and closed my eyes, trying to go back to sleep. However, something kept me awake. Why? It's too early to even be alive. I gave up and sat up, staring at the fireplace across my bed. A sigh escaped from between my lips before I threw my legs over the side of the bed. What to do at 7 in the morning? Work on homework, explore the house, make some coffee. I'm gonna go make some fucking coffee. I decided making coffee was the best bet in surviving the rest of the day. Why not? Haven't had coffee in forever. I got out of bed and made my way to the kitchen. Unconcerned that I was in pajama pants and a tank top, I rummaged through the cabinets for a coffee machine and any makings for coffee. Surely my grandfather had some. A French press? Well, it's better than nothing. As I began to make my coffee, I checked my email on texts on my phone. No new important emails, no text messages. I sighed. I quickly made my coffee just how I liked it and sat at the counter. But then, I began to wonder, would this happen every day? I let the question linger in my mind. For a whole morning, I did not think about the boys or Malix. Everything was peaceful. Everything was average. Nothing magical or dangerous or unusual. I simply drank my coffee as I let the thought marinate in the back of my mind. I returned to bed, feeling the weight of the morning drag me under my covers to try sleeping again. I had energy, but I wanted more sleep. It was Sunday and nothing was happening today. Come on, eyes, back to sleep. I shut my eyes and I tried to slow my breathing. I looked at my phone to check the time once again. It was noon, yet it felt like I had slept for much longer. Why is time going so slowly? I sighed, got changed into normal clothes, and went out to the main hall and sat on the stairs. Sundays were very boring. However, the muffled sounds. Oh, huh? I quickly went out to the backyard in response to the noise I had heard. In the yard were all 5 of the boys practicing fighting. Sam was in the middle with the other 4 surrounding him and throwing punches and kicks at him. Sam, being the strongest of the bunch, blocked and dodged each after almost masterfully. Don't disturb them. I just watched. The boys were very much in their own world, focusing on the training they were all in. It was better not to disturb them. I checked the time and decided to head inside the kitchen. I was getting hungry and I'm sure the boys would need to eat soon, so lunch was a must. Might as well make lunch today. It's been a while since I cooked. Lunch wasn't particularly hard. I decided to make cold cut sandwiches, simple chicken and rice, pizza. Cold cut sandwiches. Because why not? I assembled simple ham sandwiches for all of us. After I poured some potato chips on the side of each sandwich, I felt satisfied. Who said lunch had to be cooked? Yeah. I placed the food on the dining room. However, none of the boys were there by the time I brought the final dish out. I carried the dish to the main lobby, catching the boys separating into the different rooms of the house. Parts of me wanted to go in one in particular. The other part of me wanted to just leave them be and take the food in my hand to my room and eat. Maybe I could go out today while the boys focus on training. Clear on me, find one of the incubi. Let's go in my room. Leave them alone. I decided against bothering them. They knew their food was there, so I went to my room instead and ate alone in my room. It's not my problem. I turned on my computer and started to jam the music as I ate my food. As I ate, I began to think about going out. There were so many places to go, things to do. The Pink Lady Cafe, the arcade, stay in my room, grandfather's. Let's go to the arcade. I arrived at the arcade, ready to spend some cash on some fun games. I didn't want to be stuck at home on Sunday. Besides, the arcade always had something new to play, no matter how often you came. I began to wander the aisles of machines, scanning over them to find a good game to play. I had played a lot of games already with Suzu, so it was just a matter of finding a good one. What finally caught my attention was a crowd of people surrounding a group of machines. I got closer and peeked through the crowd to see Suzu sitting in a racing game versus two other players who were on the same machine behind Suzu's. From the looks of it, Suzu was losing and that was causing her an anger face.
You're going down!
Kiss my Italian ass!
I stifled a giggle, watching Suzu remain playful under stress. She was adorable but feisty. Truly a spicy Italian. I observed as Suzu finally caught up to her opponents and passed them with ease.
What the? Hurry it up!
Later, losers!
The crowd began to cheer, watching Suzu beat out the guys and slide into first place. As the lights and sounds began to blare in celebration, the two jerks left the machine in a huff and Suzu stood up.
Good game, everyone!
Slowly the crowd began to disperse, leaving me standing to applaud for Suzu alone. Suzu smiled as she finally saw me walking over to me.
Hey, what brings you
I didn't
here?
want to be stuck at home, so I came here. I needed to have some fun after yesterday.
Yeah, man, I get you. Yesterday was full of tightwad business guys, and me and Naomi were pretty uncomfortable too.
Really? I'm really sorry about that. Suzu laughed and waved her hand in dismissal of it. She then leaned against the racing game and put her hands into her pockets.
So what do you plan on doing here?
I just wanted to have some time. Alone time and play some games. That's
Oh, really? What game do you think you could beat me
I think
at?
we can do a major damage and beat out our high scores in robot extermination. Suzu grinned from ear to ear, nodding before taking my hand and heading over to the machine in question. It was cute to see Suzu like this. She was always the adventurous type, and I loved that side of her being beyond anything. I guess that's what kept our friendship strong for so long. Eventually, we did reach a large machine covered with images of robots disguised as animals, mascots, and blood. We took out up our plastic guns and swiped our game cards across the credit slot, giving our credits to the slot the game's display.
You take left, I take right.
As usual, let's go! The game quickly started up and we blasted our way through the hordes of robots, landing more headshots than professional shooter tournament players. Suzu and I played this game so often, it pretty much became our go-to high-score game. We always kept the top 5 spots on the leaderboard for ourselves. As we finished the first level, though, we were stunned to see the new leaderboard on the loading screen.
Someone took number 1?
Oh, hell no.
We maxed that level, right?
Suzu looked at me with a very unfamiliar, deadly look in her eyes. She was determined to regain number 1, so was I. I knew what this meant. No deaths, no quick reloads, and consistent headshots and Easter egg points. This whole experience itself ran 2 hours straight, with the main game and its sequel programmed into the machine. Once you finish game 1, you immediately began the next until you reached the end of the second game. At least it had some cutscenes to take breaks between. It'll be tough, but we got this. Suzu nodded before putting game card into the breast pocket of her jacket and readying herself for the next level. I braced myself for a long game.
Hey Anderson, let's make this a little more fun. Whoever has the least amount of headshots has to treat the other to lunch.
It's almost 2 p.m., Suzu.
There's such a thing as late lunch.
Alright, you're on. And we're off. Virtual bullets began to fly across the screen, slamming into the heads of multiple robots and causing them to fall to the floor and die out. One by one, Suzu and I burned through the game like our lives depended on it. We eventually had a crowd from behind us, cheering us on and offering us food so that we wouldn't have to leave the machine. Most of them were guys who liked the girl on gun action, but some of them were actually excited bystanders, hoping that we would take back our high score. We snacked a bit, taking breaks between cutscenes of level changes, but we remained true to our goal. Eventually, we made it to the final boss, a giant black bear robot with red eyes and deadly attacks.
Let's go, Anderson!
Right behind you. The crowd behind us began to cheer as we began our final battle. Our legs were a little wobbly, but we were too into the game to care. All we cared about was the large red bear at the top of the screen, slowly emptying with each bullet we fired into the boss's body. We only had a few shots left when someone called out,
"You girls suck!"
Without missing a shot, Suzu and I replied at once.
You wish we did!
Before landing the final blow to our opponent, the death cutscene flashed in place, played on the scene. The scream of the robot bear booming through the speakers. Suzu and I weren't excited just yet. We were waiting for the high score screen to appear. It was the final high score screen of the entire game, so it was the most important screen in our eyes. Come on, come on. Yes! The screen popped up revealing our code SCA as the #1 score in the game, knocking down our mysterious MAL opponent to second place. The crowd behind us went ballistic as Suzu and I hugged each other tightly in joy. It was like stepping out a major milestone, despite it only being an arcade game. We did it! Woohoo! The second start screen came up, separating Suzu and I from our hug of delight. No matter so actually, I was better. However, Suzu had more skills and headshots, making her the winner for a little bit.
Booyah! Free lunch!
Alright. Where to, boss?
I just want some drive-thru food. I've been eating way too many home-cooked meals, man. I need at least one unhealthy meal.
Suzu's family was indeed an Italian family, but they were very self-conscious about their food. There was quite possibly the healthiest family I know. Suzu and I left the arcade, occasionally stopping to be given praise of or be asked a question about our gaming skills. We eventually headed out to the parking lot, where a decently used Jade motorcycle sat with chains around its wheels. Suzu quickly took off the chains and took a seat on the bike, getting out 2 helmets, placing one on her head, and ushering me to sit behind her. Oh my god. I followed her gesture and made myself comfortable on the leather seat behind her, putting on one of the helmets and wrapping my arms around her waist. I had ridden with her on the motorcycle before, so this was nothing new to us. Suzu revved the engine and quickly sped out of the lot, driving into the streets towards the fast food joint.
Paradise Parlor sound good? I'd love some paradise nuggets and cheese fries.
Yeah, sounds good. We went through the drive-thru and ordered meals for ourselves before heading to my house. Suzu parked in the front, watching me dismount from my bike.
Thanks for late lunch.
It might as well be dinner now. Suzu and I laughed. It was funny how time flew by. Want to stick around and eat together? Anytime. See you. I'll say bye. I waved to Suzu as she quickly headed out of the gates and back home. I smiled as I watched her go before heading back inside. Suzu stuck around in my mind for a little longer than I expected, but I couldn't help but smile. The remainder of the night passed by, surprisingly uneventful. The boys continued to train with each other, but were kind enough to stop and make me dinner. I was glad for that. Unsurprisingly, the food was perfect, but it felt a little empty without the boys to eat with me. They most likely had already eaten, but still, I felt lonely. I couldn't let it bother me. I ate and went back to my room to study and sleep. Surprisingly, I felt good going to bed that night. I felt like I had a peaceful sleep after the previous rough nights I had. I felt good. I drifted to sleep and woke up almost flawlessly the next morning. No grogginess, no aches, perfectly energized and bright-eyed. Man, how long has it been since I had that much good sleep? I looked at my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm. Well, hey, I must be lucky today. Karma owed me some luck. After all, I had gone through in merely a handful of days. I deserved to get some good luck. Ecstatic for the day ahead, I turned off my alarms before they could ring and got dressed. However, my phone started to quickly buzz for an incoming text. Huh? Who's texting me this early?
Yo, Anderson! You're carpooling with us from now on. We're not letting you waste your money on a bus. Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stat.
I smiled. My friends were the best. I couldn't drive yet, and I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends would let me carpool. I checked the time, 6:30. Perfect. I can eat some breakfast before they come. I packed my bag and carried it downstairs into the kitchen. I quickly made myself coffee and toast, not having time for anything big. I let out a soft sigh in happiness as I sipped my coffee. I felt great and felt like nothing could stop me today. Come at me, day. I'm ready for you. I looked at the time again. Time to go. I quickly rushed to the doors, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still needed to look decent. And right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Seduce waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to school, talking about homework and that coming day. We made it into school without a hitch. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed to and got our important books and necessities. First incident of the day. As I walked towards Suzu and Naomi, who were both waiting for me on the opposite side of the hall, something hooked my ankle and made me fall forward. Whoa! Ow!
Hey, are you okay?
Hey, are you okay?
Who did that?
Who did that?
The three of us looked back to see Lizzieette and her gaggle of girls. Lizzieette had a look of complete innocence while the girls around her giggled like no tomorrow.
Little, why, you little Suzu!
I felt a giant fire of anger burn in my stomach as I stared at Lizzieette. Today was not the only time this has happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents. Even if she was innocent and one of her goons did it, it was now obvious that Lizzieette was the mastermind just from the look on her face. She was no friend, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. I had enough. I had adrenaline rush through my body, so I pounced off of the ground and rushed at Lizzieette. Oh, I didn't think it was going to be this drastic. I was not going to be the only one with scrapes this time. I tackled Lizzieette to the ground, swiping and slapping her in its face. She screamed in fright before trying to push me off and block my attacks.
Holy shit! Anderson,
I wasn't listening anymore. I let my carnal need to get revenge take over as I began to pull at Lizzieette's hair to get better at aim at her face with my free hand. I had enough of the bullying, the wounds, the insults. All of this was going burn in the past as I scraped my nails across Lizzieette's face over and over. Wow, holy shit! My rebellion would be marked on her pretty face for all to see. Lizzieette pushed me off and scrambled to her feet, both panicked and angry at the same time. Her emotion was nowhere close to the anger I was feeling.
Are you crazy? What the
I stood up
hell?
very slowly, glaring daggers into Lizzieette's soul through her eyes. I must have had some sort of monster behind me, or maybe I looked like the monster myself, but the gaggle of girls, Lizzieette, and even my friends had a look of pure terror on their faces. I had enough of you, Lizzieette. You obviously won't stop unless I fight back. Well, guess what? You're gonna get it. I charged at Lizzieette a second time, shoving her hard against the lockers. She let out a yelp of pain as she smacked the back of her head against the metal behind her, before glaring and shoving me back. As I stumbled back, Lizzieette raised her hands ready to fight.
Then come on, Anderson! Show me what you've got! I bet it's not
I
much.
felt myself snarl in anger before raising my own fist. Remembering my Taekwondo, I quickly snapped onto one leg and raised a leg to get a swift kick at her head, but she blocked with her arm and stepped towards me to jab at me. She's had training, not surprising. I didn't care at that moment. I bent back away from the incoming jab, re-establishing my balance as I placed both feet on the floor. Lizzieette threw jab upon jab at me, forcing me to block my torso and face with my arms and hands. Hit for hit, Lizzieette and I exchanged and defended blows each other. It was indeed more than just a catfight. This was a vengeful duel. In my mind, all I saw was Lizzieette. All I wanted to do was make her stop, and if that meant beating her down, then it had to be done. We eventually gained a small crowd of people, all silent but observing the fight. My anger intensified, and my hits became harder with each second that passed between us. I couldn't let her win. None of Lizzieette's girls dared to step in, apparently afraid of After seeing our skills and our individual fighting styles, Suzu was held back by Naomi's arms despite both of them wanting to help me. They didn't wait long for it to end, though. Suddenly, Liziette was pulled away from me, and I was pushed against the lockers by a strong force. Liziette hit the lockers as well as the opposite end of the hallway, letting out a girly grunt of pain. I looked up to see my art teacher. Oh, she has 2 different color eyes. Miss Gordon, holding me against the lockers with a look of surprise and serious concern on her face.
Miss Anderson, what are you doing?
Looked to see Liziette being held back by Miss Phillips, starting to cry innocently. I knew what was going to come out of her mouth, so I tried to push Miss Gordon off to confront her. Miss Gordon, however, kept an arm wrapped around me, keeping me back. No, don't you dare start crying, Liziette. You started this.
Miss Anderson, get a hold of yourself!
What is wrong with you? What did I ever do to you? I couldn't stop the angry tears running down my face as I shouted across the hallway. Liziette and Miss Phillips stared in shock at my screams as Miss Gordon tightened her hold on me. I am so sick of it. Leave me alone. Eventually, I lost my energy and began to weigh down on Miss Gordon's arms, letting my sadness take over and quench my anger, tear-swelling pain. I could feel Miss Gordon hug me to her to keep me upright as Liziette sniffled and confided with Miss Phillips.
I didn't do anything to her. She just attacked me all of a sudden.
That's a lie, Lisette. You tripped her on purpose. You've always been a snobby prick to us.
Never! I gave my condolences about her grandfather's death. I try to keep everyone calm. Is that so wrong?
You didn't even sound sincere. We know you were only pretending to be nice to spite us.
Enough! Miss White, follow me to the dean's office.
Liziette followed, wiping her eyes in the feigned innocence she knew how to play. I remained still in Miss Gordon's arms, unable to bring myself to fight to get at Liziette again. I had done my damage. The gaggle of Liziette's wannabes would make sure I became infamous around the school. I didn't care. I made my statement on Liziette's face and body, and I wasn't afraid to do it again. Miss Gordon, however, was done with me.
Come with me, sweetie.
You can leave me alone. I nodded and followed. My friends frowned as they watched me leave, but they headed to class without me. Miss Gordon led me to an empty classroom, which she had claimed as hers. It looked like all of the other classrooms, but art posters lined the walls. Many students loved the art room, but hated one thing, the mirror in the very back of the room. It was one thing Miss Gordon loved to use against her students. With it, she was able to see who was using their phones and who was actually studying. Miss Gordon led me to the back of the room and sat me down in front of it.
What do you see?
Huh?
Tell me what you see. Tell me what you see.
I looked in the mirror and saw myself. My clothes were a little ruffled from the fight, but beyond that, I saw just me. Nothing about me seemed different than normal. I see myself.
All right.
What else? I don't understand.
Do you know what I see? I see a brilliant woman who has been working her butt off to try and find herself. She just has a little bit of adversity in her way.
What does that have to do with what happened with Liziette?
Listen, don't think about Lisette right now. She's just another student who doesn't know what you're going through.
I stared at myself in the mirror, unable to tear my eyes away. She was right, but I still lingered on what happened with Liziette. I know Miss Gordon was only trying to help, but I couldn't fight the thoughts in my head. Miss Gordon gently rubbed my shoulder, snapping me from my thoughts. I looked up to see her smile down at me through the mirror.
You know, those were some pretty interesting moves.
Yeah.
Taekwondo. You'll have to show me one day.
I laughed as she hugged me gently.
Look, don't let Lisette get to you, okay? You have your own battles to face, and you can face them just fine. Instead of fighting Lisette, focus on your goals.
I looked up at her and nodded slightly. It was a cliche to hear, but she was telling the truth. I needed to focus on myself first. She gave me a small packet of tissues and told me that she would handle Liziette. The fear about my family learning of this that had quickly appeared had vanished when she promised to keep me out of it as much as she could.
Everything will be fine now. You're a good student, so I'll let you off with a severe warning. Just don't get into any more fights, okay? Now, head to class.
I nodded before heading to class. Surprisingly, the rest of the school day went off without another incident. I went to my classes, had lunch, and was anxious to get home. As the bell rang for the school to end, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. Huh? Text from Dad. I'll be picking you up today. Make sure you're ready to go when I get there. That's kind of a surprise. I quickly headed back to my locker and got my things before waiting for Naomi and Seduce.
Hey, are you ready to go?
Hey, are you ready to go?
Actually, my dad's picking me up.
Okay.
Really? Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense.
We'll drive home together next time. Tell your dad that we've got you covered from now
Yeah,
on.
alright. Even while I laughed, something didn't seem right. My dad texted me to say this. Why was he going to pick me up? Had I done something wrong? I didn't know. I waved goodbye to Naomi and Seduce before heading off to the usual spot where my dad picks me up. I took the time to listen to my music while I waited. I needed to get to another Rise of the Phoenix concert. Eventually, I had played the entire album with no one showing up. What the hey? Dad's never late, especially not this late. I quickly dialed my dad's number again, but as soon as I pressed call, it disconnected and read a signal disconnection error message. What the? No signal error. How do I have no signal? I double-checked my phone and saw all 5 bars for signals. It must be a dead zone. Before I could finish, a group of hands grabbed at my hands, feet, and covered my mouth. I screamed into the hands over my mouth, struggling to pull away from the hands grabbing at my lips. It felt disgusting and scary. Feeling their hands on me, I needed it to stop. Well, it's been a very interesting episode. And I know I'm stretching and I'm yawning, but you know what? I have to stretch and yawn. There's a lot of reading. The whole jaw. You see this? You see all this right here? Yeah, it's heartening. It's heartening for me reading all this time. But it's so good. But tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I would really appreciate to hear what your thoughts are. And highlighter, why do you do this? If you like this video, please hit that like button for me. I work so hard on these videos, and I would really appreciate it if you could. And as always, I hope to see you guys in my next video.